Welcome to your deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into public relations, or as they called it back in 1928,
Wow.
propaganda.
Straight up.
You shared some excerpts from Edward Bernays' book, Propaganda, and it's fascinating stuff.
There really is.
We get to peek into
Yeah.
how people thought about public opinion back then
Back then.
and how it could be swayed.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Talk about a time capsule.
Bernays is really considered like a founding father
Oh, yeah.
of public relations.
Yeah.
And while propaganda, it's got that negative
Yeah.
vibe now.
For sure.
This book really shows how
Yeah.
those techniques were originally seen.
Yeah.
Back then it was a powerful tool.
Right.
Not just to get people to buy stuff,
Yeah.
but to shape beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
trends,
Yeah.
even politics.
Okay, so right off the bat,
Yeah.
Bernays throws out this idea
Yeah.
of an invisible government.
Not like shadowy figures,
Right.
but a force shaping our thoughts
Yeah.
and actions without us realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to make you look over your shoulder, right?
It definitely does.
Yeah.
It makes you think. He's
Yeah.
really talking about a network
Yeah.
of influencers,
Mm-hmm.
trendsetters,
Yeah.
experts,
Mm-hmm.
community leaders,
Yeah.
all these people whose
Yeah.
choices and pronouncements end up
Yeah.
influencing what the masses want
Mhm.
and do, often without those folks even intending it.
He uses this great example
Oh, yeah.
of a London tailor
Mm.
subtly dictating men's fashion,
Oh, yeah.
just a little tweak to a suit designed for a VIP,
Right.
and suddenly, global trend.
Totally.
Everyone's following suit.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah. And it's like he's got other examples, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like an actress making silk shoes,
Oh.
all the rage,
Okay.
or a doctor recommending bacon.
And suddenly everyone's hopping on board.
Wow. So you mean to tell me that the bacon craze
Well,
back in the 1920s
Yeah.
was all thanks to some clever PR campaign
Mm-hmm.
by a bunch of doctors?
It makes you wonder, right?
Makes you wonder what we're being influenced by today
Yeah.
without realizing it.
Well, think about the last time
Yeah.
you bought something
Mm-hmm.
because a celebrity endorsed it.
Right.
Or maybe you changed your opinion on something.
Yeah.
After seeing a bunch of your friends post about it
Mm-hmm.
on social media,
Right.
Bernays would say,
Yeah.
that's that invisible government at work.
So is this invisible government all bad?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bernays doesn't seem to paint propaganda as purely evil. Right?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Okay.
He actually argues that it can be a force for good.
Okay.
He gives examples of how it can be used for things like
Hmm.
public health initiatives,
Right.
pushing for education,
Yeah.
and even raising awareness about social issues,
Mm-hmm.
like racial discrimination.
He specifically mentions
Oh, yeah.
the NAACP's campaign against lynching.
Yeah.
They held their convention in Atlanta,
Wow.
the heart of the South,
Right.
to make the biggest impact.
Yeah.
Brought in national and local leaders,
Uh-huh.
got tons of media coverage.
I took guts
That took guts and planning.
and planning.
It's a great example
Oh, for sure.
of how a well-crafted event can change people's minds.
What's fascinating here is that
Yeah.
Bernays saw this not as manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
but as a way to achieve goals that benefit society.
Right.
He really believed in the power of understanding
Yeah.
group psychology
Mm-hmm.
and using it to advocate for positive change.
But of course, he's not naive, is he?
Of course not.
He acknowledges the potential for misuse,
Yeah.
for people to take this too far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bernays stresses the importance
Mm.
of ethical considerations.
Oh.
He even calls out industries like cosmetics and food
Mm-hmm.
for using misleading tactics
Mm-hmm.
to exaggerate their products or
Oh.
create cutthroat competition.
Okay, he wasn't afraid to bite the hand that feeds him.
Not at all.
He points out ethical dilemmas like
Mhm.
the luggage industry,
Mhm.
promoting travel
Yeah.
when it might not be environmentally sound.
Right.
Those are the kinds of questions we're still grappling with today.
We are.
So this brings up a big question.
Yeah?
Where's the line
Where is it?
between persuasion and manipulation?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And it's one we all face every day.
Yeah.
Bernays believed the key was transparency.
Okay.
Even when pushing an agenda,
Yeah.
be upfront about the source
Mm-hmm.
and the intentions behind it.
So it's not about tricking people.
No.
It's about being honest about your goals.
Exactly.
Okay.
He felt that deceptive propaganda would ultimately backfire
Hmm.
because people can smell a rat,
Yeah.
Honesty builds trust.
Hmm.
Even if you're trying to sell someone on an idea.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, tell me more.
Bernays dives into the psychology of how people behave in groups. And that's key to understanding how propaganda works.
Yeah.
He wasn't just an ad man.
Nope.
He was a student of human nature.
He was.
Yeah.
He drew a lot from early social psychology.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff about herd mentality.
Right.
And how easily we're swayed by others.
Yeah.
Individuals are more likely to conform to what the group's doing.
Right.
And Bernays realized that could be used to influence public opinion.
Like how brands try to create that feeling of belonging.
Oh, for sure.
Or how we trust experts more readily.
Right.
That fear of missing out everyone talks about.
Yeah.
That's tapping into our desire to be part of the in crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
Bernays realized you could create demand for anything. Products.
Yeah.
Ideas. Even social trends. By tapping into those psychological levers.
And that's basically what marketing and advertising are still doing today, right? Creating a buzz, making you feel like you need something.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
But Bernays' point was, are these techniques being used ethically?
Right.
Are they transparent? That's the difference between positive influence and straight-up manipulation.
Okay, so we've got this invisible government,
Yeah.
the power of groups, and how propaganda can be used for good or bad. But how did Bernays see all this playing out?
Good question.
In different areas of life?
Well, he applied his theories to everything. Business, politics, social work, even art and science.
Let's start with business.
Okay.
How did Bernays see propaganda working in the corporate world?
He argued that businesses need to do more than just advertise their products. They need to cultivate a positive image, shape what consumers want, and even manage competition within their industry. It's not just about selling a widget. It's about building a brand, a whole ecosystem of ideas and feelings around your company.
He gives this awesome example of a velvet manufacturer whose sales were tanking instead of directly targeting American consumers. They went straight to the source. Parisian fashion houses.
Smart.
Get those trendsetters on board. And the ripple effect brings velvet back to American closets.
Bernays understood that influencing the influencers was often more effective than brute force advertising. It's about subtlety. About creating a sense of desire and inevitability.
And here's where that invisible government comes in again.
It does.
It's this interplay between businesses, influencers.
The media and the public.
No one's in total control.
No.
But everyone's playing the game.
Precisely. Bernays saw businesses as operating within this complex web of relationships and influences. Successful businesses are the ones who can navigate that web and use propaganda strategically.
He was a big believer
in
what he called continuous interpretation.
Interesting.
What did he mean by that?
He meant that businesses need to constantly engage with the public, provide information, shape perceptions, and build trust. It's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing conversation.
And he also talked about high spotting.
That's a good one.
That sounds intriguing. What's that all about?
That's where it gets really clever. High spotting is about focusing attention on a specific detail or event that represents a bigger idea. Like Bernays mentions a real estate company building the tallest skyscraper in the world.
Wow.
Just to draw attention to their development project.
So it's like creating a spectacle.
Exactly.
A talking point that captures the public imagination. We see that all the time today.
All the time.
Viral stunts. Flashy campaigns. Anything to cut through the noise.
You know, this high spotting thing is fascinating. It plays on our natural tendency to be drawn to the novel. And the spectacular Bernays realized that if you could create a spectacle, even if it was seemingly unrelated to your product or idea, you could still capture the public's attention and make them associate those positive feelings with your brand.
He even mentions a soap company.
Oh, yeah.
holding a nationwide soap sculpture competition.
That's a good one.
Not only did they get tons of publicity,
right,
they subtly promoted their product
exactly
as something artistic.
Sneaky, but brilliant.
Pretty sneaky, but also kind of brilliant.
It is clever.
Yeah.
And it highlights another key principle.
Good.
Align your interests with those of the public.
Okay.
Find that win-win situation where everyone benefits.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where a company's goals intersect with public interest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bernays believed that this was the key to building long-term trust and positive relationships with the public.
Okay.
Now let's talk politics.
Okay.
Bernays saw propaganda as essential for any successful political leader.
Okay.
He even called out politicians for being a bit behind the times, adopting the flash of show business, but not really evolving their methods as quickly as the business world.
So they knew how to work a crowd, but not necessarily how to shape opinions in a sophisticated way.
Yeah. Bernays felt that politicians, while they understood people, they often lacked the know-how to truly influence them.
No more haphazard speeches and baby kissing.
Well,
I bet those still have their place.
Yeah.
But Bernays would say those tactics need to be part of a bigger, more carefully planned strategy.
Exactly. Every piece of the campaign, the platform, the candidate's image, everything needs to be carefully crafted for the public. Bernays was big on understanding the group formations of society. He said you have to tailor your message to those specific groups if you want to connect with them.
So it's like, okay, here are the blue-collar workers. Here's the intellectual crowd. Here are the folks focused on family values. You can't just give the same speech to everyone.
Nope.
And expect it to land the same way.
You got it.
Yeah.
People's political views are shaped by their social circles, their jobs, their religion, their background. A skilled political propagandist knows how to speak to each of those groups in a way that resonates.
Bernays even talks about President Coolidge having actors over for breakfast.
Interesting.
It wasn't just a meal. It was a way to connect with a whole audience who loved entertainment.
That's the invisible government in action again. Those subtle moves. That shape perceptions. Bernays believed that by understanding what motivates different groups, a leader could build real support for their policies.
But it wasn't just about playing to the crowd. He was really critical of politicians who use trial balloons, floating ideas anonymously to test the waters.
He thought that showed weak leadership.
Oh, okay.
Bernays believed a real leader should be shaping public opinion, not just reacting to it. It's about having a vision and convincing others to get on board.
So be bold, take a stand, and then use propaganda to rally support.
That's the Bernays playbook. He argued that a skilled propagandist could make their ideas seem not just good, but inevitable.
So you make it seem like everyone's already on board, so why not join the party?
He uses the example of a politician campaigning for lower tariffs instead of just giving speeches about economic benefits. He suggests staging events, like getting famous people to boycott woolen clothes until tariffs are reduced.
So that's taking it to the streets, making it a real spectacle.
It is.
It's not just about logic. It's about tapping into emotions, grabbing people's attention.
That's the power of propaganda. And Bernays was way ahead of his time when it came to understanding the media landscape. He said you have to use every channel available, newspapers, magazines, radio public events, to get your message out there.
It's almost like a military campaign, right?
It is.
You need different tactics for different fronts, but it's all part of a coordinated strategy.
That's a great analogy. Bernays saw the battle for public opinion as a strategic endeavor requiring careful planning, a deep understanding of human psychology, and a mastery of communication.
Speaking of psychology, let's switch gears to social service.
Okay.
Where does propaganda fit into that world?
That's a good question.
You wouldn't think of those folks as master manipulators.
You might be surprised.
Okay.
Bernays believed that social service organizations, even more so than businesses or politicians, relied heavily on propaganda to achieve their goals.
Because they're often trying to change people's deeply held beliefs and habits, which is no easy feat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether it's about public health, social justice, or any other critical issue, they need to capture attention and inspire action.
Okay.
Propaganda,
Yeah.
Bernays argued, was the tool to do it.
He talks about overcoming inertia.
Oh, yeah.
That human tendency to stick with what we know, even if it's not good for us.
Right.
It takes a real push.
It does.
To get people to change.
And that's where the art of persuasion comes in.
Okay.
Bernays said effective social service propaganda has to disrupt those ingrained patterns of thought, shake things up, and introduce new perspectives.
Like that NAACP campaign we talked about earlier, holding their convention in Atlanta was a bold move right in the heart of the problem that took serious strategizing to make it work.
And it paid off.
Yeah.
They brought national and local figures together, got the media talking, and even won over some Southern newspapers.
That was huge.
It shows how a powerful event, carefully crafted, can force people to confront an issue.
Right.
And maybe, just maybe, start to change their minds.
You can't just tell people what to think.
No.
You have to create an experience that opens their eyes.
Right.
Makes them feel something.
That's the power of good storytelling.
Yeah.
And Bernays understood that. He said even everyday initiatives, like promoting dental hygiene or encouraging people to use parks, are forms of propaganda. They're about shaping behaviors for the better, even if we don't always realize it.
So propaganda is all around us.
It is.
Even in places we might not expect. We've covered business, politics, social service.
Right.
But Bernays didn't stop there.
He didn't?
He even applied his theories to art and science.
He did.
Wow.
And it makes sense when you think about it. Both art and science often struggle to connect with the average person.
Yeah, abstract art can be confusing.
Right.
And scientific concepts can get pretty dense.
They can.
It's tough to get people excited about something.
It is. They don't understand.
And Bernays believed propaganda could be the bridge between those worlds and the public.
So it's not about dumbing things down.
No.
But finding ways to explain them in a way that clicks with people.
Exactly.
Makes them see the relevance.
Yeah.
Okay.
He argued that by connecting art and science
to values and experiences that people already relate to.
Right.
You could build appreciation and support for them. It's about making those fields more accessible and engaging.
He talks about the silk manufacturer.
Oh, yeah.
Who teamed up with a famous artist
Interesting.
to create silk designs.
Okay.
And then they displayed those designs in a fancy art museum.
Wow.
Suddenly, silk wasn't just fabric.
Right.
It was art.
That's Bernays' associational values at work. Yep. You link something to something people already admire.
Right.
And those positive feelings transfer over.
Like a halo effect.
It is, like a halo effect.
It's like saying, hey, you like fine art.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? This everyday product is actually art, too.
You got it.
Yeah.
And Bernays saw this as a way to not just promote specific things, but to actually elevate public taste.
Okay.
To make people appreciate beauty and creativity in all forms.
Yeah. But he wasn't always praising people.
No.
He was pretty critical of museums. He said they were too passive, just housing art.
Right.
Without really trying to engage the public. Yeah. Or explain what it all meant.
He felt museums needed to be more proactive.
Okay.
To use lectures, programs, even partnerships with businesses to bring art into people's everyday lives.
He even suggested that museums could create councils.
Really?
To set aesthetic standards for things like home decor, architecture, commercial design.
That's ambitious.
That's pretty ambitious.
It was, Bernays really believed in the power of institutions like museums to shape the cultural landscape.
Right.
To make beauty and good design a part of everyone's experience.
Okay, so we've covered art.
Yeah.
How about science?
Okay.
Where does propaganda fit in with all those labs and equations?
Bernays felt that scientists,
you know, just like artists, often struggle to communicate the importance of their work to the average person. Because science can get really complicated. It can. It takes a certain kind of mind to grasp those concepts. And even then, it's hard to explain them to someone who doesn't have that background.
Exactly. And that gap between the scientific community and the public can have real consequences for funding, for policy decisions, even for public support of research.
Right.
Bernays saw propaganda as a way to bridge that gap.
Just about translating complex ideas into something people can understand and get excited about.
Right.
Okay.
He argued that scientific institutions and industries had a responsibility to make their work intelligible to the public. He pointed to companies like AT&T, General Electric, and Westinghouse as examples. They invested heavily in research, but they also understood the importance of explaining their innovations to people. They used demonstrations, exhibitions, even early forms of broadcasting to make complex science more accessible.
That makes sense.
It does.
If you want people to support your work, they need to see the value in it.
Right.
How it could benefit their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Bernays believed that fostering public support was crucial for ensuring that scientific advancements actually served humanity.
Okay.
He saw the need to break down those barriers between the ivory tower and the everyday world.
So in a way, propaganda can be a tool.
It can.
For democratizing knowledge, making art and science more understandable and relevant to everyone. It's like opening up these exclusive clubs.
Right.
And letting everyone in.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it speaks to Bernays' belief that propaganda, when used ethically, could be a powerful force. For progress.
Okay.
It's about educating the public, shaping opinions, and ultimately guiding the evolution of culture and civilization.
It all comes back to Bernays' idea that the public isn't just passively absorbing information.
Right.
They're actively shaping the world around them. He believed people could become wiser to these propaganda tactics.
That's a really empowering idea, isn't it?
It is.
Bernays believed that if we understand the mechanisms, the ones at play, we can become more critical thinkers, more conscious of how our beliefs are formed, and ultimately more in control of our own choices.
So it's not about being cynical and distrusting everything.
Not at all.
But about having that awareness, having that filter to help you sort through the noise and figure out what's really going on.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Bernays went so far as to say that propaganda is simply inevitable in a democratic society.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Every attempt to influence public opinion, whether it's for a product, a political candidate, or a social cause, that's essentially propaganda.
Okay.
In STEM form.
So the question isn't whether propaganda exists.
No.
It's how to spot it.
Right.
And how to differentiate the good from the bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bernays drew a sharp line between propaganda based on truth and transparency versus propaganda that's deceptive or manipulative. In the long run, he argued. Honesty and transparency went out. Because people can spot a phony eventually.
He even criticizes the use of puffery in advertising, making those over-the-top claims about a product's benefits. He felt like that kind of stuff erodes trust.
It does.
And ultimately hurts businesses in the long run.
He believed in building authentic relationships with the public. Not trying to trick them into believing something. That isn't true. That approach might work in the short term. But it's not a sustainable strategy.
So instead of trying to spin a false narrative, it's about being upfront about your goals, being genuine in your communication, and building trust over time.
That was Bernays' philosophy.
Okay.
And he felt this applied to everything, companies, politicians, even celebrities.
Right.
People can sense when someone's image doesn't match their actions, and that kind of inconsistency breeds distrust.
He uses the example of the Prince of Wales, who visited America, and according to Bernays, missed a chance to really connect with the public because he focused too much on superficial stuff and not enough on engaging with what mattered to Americans.
Bernays felt the prince could have used that trip to build a stronger relationship between Great Britain and the U.S.
Okay.
But he fumbled the ball because he didn't understand how to craft the right image.
It's a reminder that even the most powerful figures need to be aware of how they're perceived. Okay, so we've unpacked a lot about Bernays and his ideas on propaganda. But what does this all mean for us?
Yeah, good question.
Today, in our world of information overload, we're bombarded with messages from all sides. How do we even begin to apply Bernays' insights?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is awareness. Recognize that we are constantly being influenced, whether we're conscious of it or not. Question assumptions. Think critically about the information you encounter. Be mindful of who's trying to persuade you. And what their agenda might be.
It's like becoming a savvy media consumer.
It is.
You know? Understanding the techniques being used to try and sway our opinions and behaviors, we've got to develop those critical thinking skills.
Exactly. And it's not just about being defensive. It's about recognizing our own power. We're not just passive recipients of information. We're active participants. In shaping the world around us. By understanding the principles of propaganda, we can become more discerning, make more informed choices. And even push back against manipulation when we see it.
And here's a final thought to chew on. If Bernays, writing almost a century ago, believed the public could become wise to propaganda tactics, how much more sophisticated do you think those tactics have become?
It makes you wonder.
In our age of digital media and constant information bombardment?
That's the question.
Food for thought.
It is.
As you navigate this ever-changing world. Until our next deep dive.